When a financial or health crisis hits, the stress of the event is often immediately followed by a second crisis, trying to find help. You are forced into a maze of paperwork, phone trees, and eligibility portals, trying to figure out what assistance actually exists. The United States spends roughly $1.1 trillion annually on means-tested assistance, but that money doesn't come from one central safety net. It shatters into more than 70 distinct, disjointed programs, from SNAP and TANF to CHIP and HUD, each with its own application, rules, and local gatekeepers. Securing these funds requires a heavy trade-off. In exchange for the financial stability to keep your lights on or your family fed, you have to surrender your financial privacy. You must document your income, your assets, your living arrangements, and repeatedly prove your need to the state. Because of that friction, applying for everything all at once is a trap that will drain your time and energy. Success in this system requires treating it like a strict matching game. You have to align your specific life scenario with the precise bureaucratic pathway designed for it. This chart visualizes exactly how the government calculates need, using the official poverty measure. Need is not a feeling, it is a rigid annual formula. For a family of 4 in 2025, the official poverty line sits at $32,150. If you make $1 over the threshold, your application is automatically rejected. To account for this cliff, many programs offer expanded eligibility, stretching the limit up to 133% of that baseline. That 133% multiplier locks in eligibility for some of the most critical safety nets, dictating exactly who gets coverage under expanded state programs. But meeting the math is only half the battle. You also have to know how the program is funded. Mandatory programs are legally required to provide relief to every single person who meets the math. Capped programs are given a strict annual budget. Once the money is gone, you're placed on a wait list, no matter how desperate your situation is. If you confuse a mandatory program for a capped lottery, you risk spending months submitting paperwork for a waitlist you might never clear. This blank quadrant chart maps out the reality of applying for government aid. The x-axis measures the administrative effort required to get the benefit, and the y-axis tracks the actual financial impact it makes on your life. Let's weigh the options. First, Medicaid. For those sitting under that strict 133% poverty threshold, it covers low-income adults, children, and pregnant women. It is the nation's largest insurer, and it guarantees comprehensive, real-world access to doctors, hospitals, and prescriptions with minimal out-of-pocket costs. Then there is SNAP, historically known as food stamps. It provides a guaranteed monthly grocery budget, an average of $188 a month per person. But the government places strict boundaries on those funds. You cannot buy hot, prepared foods, alcohol, or basic household supplies, and you must consistently report your income to maintain access. We lock them in the high-impact, medium-effort quadrant. They require invasive financial reporting, but the return is substantial and immediate. Because SNAP and Medicaid are mandatory, the government must pay if the math checks out. That makes them the most reliable, immediate safety net available. If you are currently employed but struggling, the government offers subsidies through the Earned Income Tax Credit and Child Tax Credit, but getting them means waiting out the calendar until tax season. These credits scale to your income. A married couple with 3 kids can earn up to $68,675 and still qualify for the EITC. And because these credits are refundable, the IRS will cut you a massive cash check, up to thousands of dollars, even if you owe absolutely nothing in federal taxes. The trade-off here is entirely about time. This is delayed gratification. You must meticulously file your federal taxes and wait for a single annual payout. On the chart, these land in the absolute best corner: low effort, high impact. Simply file your taxes correctly, and the government sends the money. Tax credits offer the highest financial return for the least administrative friction. But if you are facing a Tuesday eviction notice or an urgent medical bill, an annual payout arriving next April is useless to you today. That brings us to Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, or TANF. This is exactly what most people picture when they hear the word welfare: direct cash payments to very low-income families. But accessing TANF requires punishing administrative friction. Because the entire program is heavily restricted, states force applicants to clear constant hurdles: mandatory work search logs, regular caseworker meetings, potential drug testing in your state, and a strict 60-month lifetime limit, all for an average of just a few $100s a month. TANF drops into the bottom right, high effort, low impact. It represents the peak of bureaucratic gatekeeping. Navigating the rules to keep your TANF benefits often requires more energy and administrative effort than working a part-time job. Next are the capped lotteries. Subsidized housing options like HUD Section 8 cap rent at 30% of your income. Millions of households use them, but qualifying mathematically does not guarantee you a home because local housing budgets are extremely finite. If the budget is full, you are waitlisted. Across the country, the average wait time for a qualified applicant to actually get subsidized housing is 27 months. Federal education funding operates on a similar capped logic. Pell grants offer excellent payouts, up to $7,395 a year for students, but they are strictly capped at 12 semesters of use and require clearing the hurdle of the FAFSA application every single year. Housing and education land in high effort, high impact. The payouts are life-altering, but they come with a heavy time delay modifier. These capped programs act as structural lotteries. Applying today is essential if you want to secure stability 2 years from now, but it will not stop a crisis tomorrow. This matrix organizes the safety net into an actionable strategy. Your job is to identify your immediate demographic, prioritize the programs built for you, and completely ignore the rest. First is the crisis navigator. You've experienced sudden job loss or have zero income. You must focus 100% of your energy right now on mandatory relief, SNAP, Medicaid, and emergency utility assistance. Send TANF and housing to the ignore row. They take too long and demand too much energy when you need food today. Next is the gap bridger. You are working but struggling to cover basic costs. You make too much for traditional poverty programs. Your Apply Today row consists of upper-tier subsidies, the Earned Income Tax Credit, the Child Tax Credit, CHIP for your kids' health insurance, and WIC for infant nutrition. Correctly identifying your financial profile stops you from burning precious energy applying for aid that is mathematically designed to reject you. Finally, the long-term planner. You are a senior or a person with disabilities living on a fixed income. You have to play the long game. Your immediate focus must be Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, and getting your name onto the HUD housing list. You apply today, endure the bureaucracy, and wait out the 27 months, because clearing that waitlist secures decades of future baseline stability. Navigating this fragmented system carries a heavy emotional and psychological toll. You are repeatedly asked to prove your hardship to a system that views you through a purely mathematical lens. The system is difficult by design. But understanding the poverty math, choosing your bureaucratic battles wisely, and relentlessly claiming the resources you are legally entitled to is the difference between a temporary crisis and generational poverty. Know the rules, pick your target, and secure your baseline.